Let's talk about the Groucho Club. I think it's been there since the 1980s, 47 years or something. No, 37 years. 1987, 85 it opened. It's been, I'm looking at pictures of some of the, you name the famous person, they've been there. I'm looking at pictures of Kate Moss, of course, the Gallagher brothers, George Michael in his heyday, Liza Minnelli, Lily Allen, Sienna Miller. I mean, Bill Clinton even popped in for a drink when he was president. You know, Rita Ora, Cara Delevingne, Ellie Goulding. I mean, you know, everybody goes there. It's been sensationally and shockingly suddenly shut down after police launched an investigation in what we are told is a serious crime. And the local authority, the licensing authority as such, have suspended their licence to operate. So suddenly, the Groucho Club, at least for now, is no more. Very sad. Many of us have spent many a long hour in that place, and nobody has actually spent more time in the Groucho Club than my next guest. He is the doyen of the Groucho Club, London PR guru, by the way, old friend of mine, Mark Borkowski. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Kev. Good evening.
This is quite sad. I mean, first of all, what's your understanding of what's happened?
I don't really know, to be quite frank. I mean, there's lots of lurid rumours flying around. I tend to ignore those and the various conspiracy theories that seem to be emanating online. I know as much as you do. The place is closed, is under licensing review. Whether that's a death knell or for the Groucho or some existential threat, but of course it comes at the time when it's busiest. Christmas parties galore, you know, sort of Christmas drinks. I saw many plaintive celebrity putting up on X, can you furnish our Christmas party? It's a situation that nobody wants, but, you know, why it's come to pass, your guess is as good as mine. But, I mean, it obviously is significant, simply because, you know, it's been tagged by the word serious crime involved. So I don't know what that might be.
Well, a word on how sad this is. I mean, this has been a cornerstone, or that club has been a cornerstone of your life. I've been there a fair few times myself. It's a cornerstone of we Londoners, you know, media people, showbiz people. It's just the Groucho, you know, it's famous. And as I say, royals, presidents, famous people, superstars, all go to the Groucho. Very sad that it's, well, hopefully only temporarily, but suddenly those famous doors are not open.
Look, I mean, I think there hangs a problem. I mean, I've been a member since the beginning. I was working in theatre, and my then poster designer said, "You want to join this club, Mark? I'm doing the BIS fundraising form for it, designing it." And I said, "Club? Isn't that where you're going to wear ties?" And I said, "It's not really me." He said, "No, trust me, this is going to be different." And it was. And in the 80s,
say that again.
Yeah, and the 80s and the 90s and the early noughties, it was significant. But, you know, how the club existed in those times is not how it could exist now. There's different attitudes. Clearly, it's a big business, and therefore keeping on the right side of Westminster is important, which obviously they haven't done. But it's been recently acquired. It's been sold to a company called Art Farm, you know, who come from the contemporary art world. And I suspect that they've tried to change it, because I think the burden with the Groucho is all that excess, all that hedonism that existed in a very different time is not what the Groucho is now. And of course, there are less celebrities, as it was knee deep in celebrities because it was the one place. I can remember a time you couldn't get a drink in a pub after 11 o'clock. It was closed. So licensing was different. It was a safe space for many celebrities to go. There wasn't the likes of the Soho House around. There was a lot of sort of, you know, Pall Mall type of gentlemen's clubs that existed, and it was disruptive. But it's not that any longer. And I think the burden of it sort of of bohemian status has changed. Many young members use it as a business centre, as an office. There are certainly more mobile phones and laptops around. It still has magical nights, but it doesn't have the same power. I still enjoy going to it, but it doesn't have the power. So I don't know how it's come to pass, but clearly the new owners haven't really come to grips with how to run something that has a strange alchemy that very few places have. And I think there's been a lot of headlines about the corporatization of the Groucho Club. Whether that's true, I don't know. But the sort of the vibe is different, but nothing remains the same. Everything's different. Everything's the same. Everything's got to move on. There's a younger clientele with different values, possibly drink less than you and I, Kev, which is pretty sad. But
it's fairly easy to drink less than us, I think.
Well,
I mean, my sort of abiding memory, or still a kind of factor really, is in its heyday. You know, I used to go down there with some trepidation, because if I would, for example, see you, or I was meeting you, and I'd walk in the door and you'd be sitting on a chair 10 yards away, it would take me about an hour to get to you, because you'd know everyone there. Now, when I go there these days, I don't see that many people that I know anymore. So it seems to have sort of changed in that kind of respect. Do you think, Mark, that the sort of era of the elitist, fashionable, groovy London club, members club, is coming to an end in some sort of way?
It's different. Whether it comes to an end, I don't know. The Groucho is still quite full. Whether celebrities, you know, want to go out in the way that they did back in the noughties or the 90s and the 80s is under scrutiny. There's a great deal of sort of privacy wanted now, and social media have changed things. I mean, how you reinvent the Groucho Club, I think, is what the new owners are trying to do, and a lot of people didn't like that. And you know, the type of people you're talking about who frequented the Groucho, there's two things have happened: they're either dead or they're sober. And
I'd rather be the former, frankly.
That's a fact. And I think that you're talking about 30 years ago. I remember Jeffrey Barnard and some of the old sort of Soho crew were there. I was a young kid at the time, and everybody talked to everybody else now, and to everybody in the club. And that doesn't seem to be the same fashion now. It seems to be different. And of course, Soho House, which has sort of grown out of the Groucho, is a pretty successful club in its own right. So it's split the type of members that would have habituated the Groucho. So it does sadden me to see these headlines, and I can tell you I've never fielded so many calls from people asking the question, what's going on? And nobody knows. And one hopes that this is a blip, that they can reposition their case. Look, there's lots of places in London who, you know, Fabric, Heaven, who have gone through these troubles. And I think that it's a nasty shock to the system, but I just think it's a bit early to start writing obituaries, which people want to do. People want to feast on failure. And of course, the management need to look at themselves, because obviously they've let members down in the way they've run the place. But there's still some fantastic people who are employed by that. There's some great people that go, but the consistency that used to exist of every night was a cracking night of fun into the early hours, that age is different now. Everybody, as you know, is chasing everlasting life, and everybody seems to be a lot more healthier. And if you're a lot more healthier, there isn't so much fun around, is it? It's all a bit dull.
The thing about you and me, Mark, is we're a dying breed, and I mean that literally. Listen, mate, great to talk to you. Let's get together very soon and hopefully go to the Groucho Club again. I hope it is only a temporary blip. Mark Borkowski there, the doyen of the Groucho Club and the king of London's publicity agencies, an excellent PR guru.